Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be another movie review for you guys. And this movie I was planning on not really watching. This is one of the movies that got leaked online by the Sony hackers, and the reason I watched this movie, I'm going to explain why. First of all, I wanted to catch up on 2014 movies. I'm very behind, and I want to watch more, so I have a good top 10 list. There are a bunch I need to watch, and guys, I'm probably gonna do, like, now that there aren't as many TV shows, there's gonna be a lot more like TV, movie reviews, Christmas reviews, and Middle Earth. I'm gonna be doing those like all combined, so we'll see how that works. But this movie, I really wanted to watch it because Julianne Moore was nominated for a Golden Globe. Because of this movie, and I really wanted to see if the movie really does deserve it. And that movie is Still Alice. Now, Still Alice is a movie I pretty much knew nothing about. All I knew is that Julianne Moore's character had Alzheimer's, and, that she has this really bad disease and everything. It's about how the movie shows that. But I gotta say, guys, this movie is a masterpiece. Still Alice is a masterpiece. I loved it. It really had no problems at all. And there were so many things that this movie did that I didn't know about it. It's probably one of the most realistically portrayed movies I have seen all year. You know how realistically portrayed Boyhood was? That's how realistically portrayed this is. It's a very, well done movie, and I definitely love it, and it really is fantastic. And I didn't really know too much about the movie, but let's talk about the plot of Still Alice. The plot of Still Alice is we focus on this doctor, played by Julianne Moore, Alice Howland. And she is very happily married. She pretty much has a pretty good life. She's a linguistics professor and everything. She has a very good family and everything. She's raised two daughters who she's raised very well. They've grown up to be very, they're not like in trouble or anything. They're not rebellious or anything. And one day, basically she is diagnosed with, one day she starts, she's at a presentation and she starts to forget the words. Like, basically she thought what she was going to say, but she starts to forget the words. And she goes to this doctor. And basically, the doctor, kind of gives her a series of tests, ask her, what do you think this word means? What do you think this means? And eventually, he reveals to her that she has early stages of Alzheimer's. And the rest of the movie is how her family deals with that and how they, try to make that work in their life and how they try to provide, how they try to provide for her and things like that. And that's basically what Still Alice is all about. And I think that is a fantastic plot. The plot is by far one of the best parts of the movie, and I love that, definitely. Now, let's talk about the acting in this movie. Oh my god, the acting in this movie, I did not expect this movie to have as good acting as it did, and I'm going to explain why. The acting in this movie does not feel like acting. It feels literally like these people are a family. It feels like they really are this close in real life. It feels like we're just watching a family go through this, and the way they portray in the movie was fantastic. Julianne Moore. Oh my god. Julianne Moore, I did not realize how great of an actress Julianne Moore really is. I mean, I thought what Maisie knew was her best performance. No, this is her best performance, hands down. The way she portrays herself in this movie is fantastic. I loved her character. I was so into the character of Alice Howland. And Julianne Moore, I'm going to say right now, Julianne Moore is one of the best actresses working today. And this movie made me realize that she is one of the best actresses working today. This movie made me realize how talented she really is. And her character is just so good. I mean, Alice is a character that is so optimistic and feels that, she's still going to be able to do her job and things like that. She knows that it's going to get bad, but the way she did this is very well done. I mean, there's a heartbreaking scene where she has to tell her children that she has Alzheimer's, and it's a very well done scene. And one of the other things I didn't expect this movie to do that it did do is go into the backstory of Alice's childhood. We find out, actually, that her mother and her sister died in a car crash, and her father was a very bad, had very bad drinking problems, was an alcoholic, and she could have gotten the Alzheimer's from him. So I think that's really interesting that we found that out. And I didn't expect the movie to do that, but I really liked that, definitely, that the movie showed that. And just the character was so good. She was so confident. She really wanted this disease to not get, to not make her, to not ruin her life and everything. But she knew there were certain things she couldn't do, and I thought the movie was just very, very, portrayed that very, very well. Alec Baldwin, I've never been that big of a fan of him, but he is fantastic in this movie. He really, one of the things I love is that these two do not get a divorce because of her Alzheimer's, and I love that. And that's one thing the movie portrays very, very realistically, and something that I really loved about the movie. Is how realistically it portrayed their marriage. You can see that he really wants to help her through this. He wants them to basically still be very happily married, but he knows that it's not going to work. It's not gonna, he knows that she's gonna get worse, but he tries to do the best he can to provide for her and still be a great husband to her, which I love watching, and I thought he portrayed that very, very well. Let's start with the most surprising actress in this movie for me. Kristen Stewart as Lydia blew me away. I had no idea Kristen Stewart was capable of this. She, you know how, like, I was expecting her to be, you know how, like, wooden she was in Twilight? She had no feelings whatsoever. She basically just portrayed the movie, like, completely cardboard cutout-ish. That is not her character in this movie at all. Her character in this movie, she gave so much to this role. Honestly, I feel it is supporting actress worthy. She is fantastic in this. By the way, Julianne Moore definitely deserves that Golden Globe, and I definitely feel should win it. She really is that good. But Kristen Stewart is the most surprising actress in this movie for me. Her character was so interesting. Her character was so well done, and I love that about her character. There's a heartbreaking scene where she is reading this poem to her mother. It's actually the last scene in the movie. It's very, very well done. I thought she did a great job. She actually, some of the scenes brought me to tears with her character. You see her character the most out of both of her daughters, and I thought she was just so, so good in this movie. Loved her character, and she was just absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Kate Bosworth played her other daughter, Anna. Oh, also with Lydia. Like, Lydia's some of the problems that's going on with the family before she has to sell this, but her family's pretty good overall. Kate Bosworth plays Anna, her other daughter, and I thought she was great as well. The thing with her character that she really wants to help her mother, but she has her own life. She has a husband, she has children, she's expecting a child, and I thought she did a very good job portraying that. And the other thing I love is that you really saw that Alice had two very, very well-grounded daughters. They really were very successful in life because of her, and I definitely really enjoyed that. Hunter Parrish is also in this movie. He plays Anna's husband. He did a very good job as well. Everyone in this movie was very good, but I very quickly want to talk about the professor, not the professor, but the doctor that she was going to. Whoever played the doctor was fantastic. I thought he was great as well, and I definitely thought he did a very good job. But let's talk about the directing. The directing to this movie by Richard Glatzer and Wash Westmoreland was fantastic. They portrayed this movie as not a movie. They portrayed it as literally just a very, very realistic version of disease. It's probably the most realistic depiction of Alzheimer's I have seen. It is very realistically done because this is not like one of those cheesy Lifetime movies where the family gets into a fight and, like, they start to get really upset at each other, the family breaks apart. No, the family wants to provide for her, and I like the movie shows that, and actually makes the movie sadder, because you can see that the family wants to provide for her, but you know that she's gonna get worse. You know that she's gonna get worse, and as the movie goes on, she gets worse and worse and worse. Another thing that I really like the movie did with that doctor is that there are a scene where he starts to ask her a series of questions, and as the movie goes on, it gets, she gets worse and worse and worse, and I like the movie really showed that perfectly, and they portrayed this story perfectly. Screenplay is one of the best screenplays the entire year. Screenplay is so interesting, and the movie's never boring. It's completely dialogue-driven, but I love the screenplay. I thought it was fantastic. The cinematography was great. The editing was perfect. The movie went by like that. When it was over, I was surprised it was over. And when a movie, I'm like, oh, it's over. Like, and when I'm like that, I'm like, you can tell I'm very, very into the movie. And I was upset this movie was over. I was into the story. I didn't want this movie to be over. That's how much I loved it. I didn't want it to be over, and I love that. When you can tell you don't want a movie to be over, that's when you know it's really, really good. And definitely, this movie is going to get some Oscar buzz. I can definitely see it getting some Oscar buzz. It's going to get a lot of Oscar love. And especially when it comes out January 15th, that's when it's being released wide. I saw it because it was one of those Sony movies that was hacked. That's how I saw it. But let's talk about, not necessarily spoilers, but things that happen in this movie. There aren't actually any spoilers in this movie because it's very much like Boyhood. I'm going to talk about why. Basically, you know how Boyhood was portrayed as a very realistic story in, like, a real family? That's still Alice. Still Alice has certain events that happen, that basically you can, and the thing I love about Still Alice is very much like Boyhood. Time passes in this movie. Characters age. Characters' physical appearances change, and they don't show you as 1 year later or something like that. No, you can just see her disease is getting worse and worse and worse as it goes on, and the way they portrayed that was very well done. Of course, there are scenes that she freaks out. There's a scene in this where she can't find her phone. There's a scene in this where it gets to the point where she can't even find her own bathroom, and the way that was portrayed was perfect. The way the movie ends is very bittersweet. You know her family, but the way the movie ends, I really like it, is that you know her disease is going to get worse, but you know that her family is always going to try to be there for her and always try to support her. Even if they can't fully support her, they are going to support her and will be there for her. No one in this movie ends with, oh, I hate you, I never want to see you again. That's not how this movie ends. This movie ends with her family being there for her, and I really love the movie ended that way, because I couldn't really think of a better way for the movie to end than that, and I think that's very well done that the movie ended that way, because that's very realistic, the way the movie ended. It's very deep stuff, but it's very well done, definitely. And also, this movie is sad, but it's not sad in the way of you can't watch it. It's sad because you know what's going on. And the movie handles emotion very, very, very well. When she has to tell her kids that she has this disease, they don't freak out about it. They're like, okay, we're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. Because they have their own lives. They know that everything's going to be okay. They know their mother is strong. That's what I like the movie portrays. And it's very realistic the way the movie is done. The way the movie ends is just fantastic. And overall, the whole movie is just absolutely fantastic. And I loved it. And Still Alice is an amazing movie. You should definitely check it out. It's an absolute masterpiece. The only, real spoiler I'd say that, and this is just a quick spoiler, it's nothing that big, is when, of course, her husband wants her to move, but she doesn't want to because she's worried that if she moves, she's going to forget everything, and she doesn't want that to happen. And that's really the only, other plot point that happens in this movie. The rest is just, events, which I thought was good because it really tells the story of this family very, very well. But that's basically my review of Still Alice. I highly, highly recommend you guys check out this movie. It's not a movie that I expected to be as good as it was. It's probably my 4th favorite movie of 2014. It is definitely going to be on my top 10 list. It is definitely one where if you guys have not seen, you need to check it out now. It is the most surprising movie I've seen all year. I loved it so much. I will definitely never forget it. Julianne Moore is just such an amazing actress, and you need to check it out now. And guys, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. This is my next video probably is going to be for a Christmas movie. What I'm going to try to do is, now that there aren't as many TV shows on, I will eventually do top 10 TV shows of 2014, but I'm not doing that till Homeland: The Affair ends. That's why I'm doing that. When they end, then I will finish, then I will do that video. But basically, what I'm going to be doing in the meantime is I'm going to try to do 2014 movie reviews. I got to catch up on them. I got to do Christmas reviews, and I got to finish my Middle-earth reviews, because The Hobbit: Battle of Five Armies comes out next week, so I got to review all those as well. And my next review is probably going to be for a Christmas movie or Return of the King. I'm not sure which one. But I encourage all you guys, please watch this movie. It's fantastic. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for one of those movie reviews I just said. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.